We're live. Hey, everybody, this is Dave Cooper and Jennifer, and we are up and running, and we are live on LinkedIn. And this is kind of our first episode, and we keep working through, some of the ins and outs of the live streaming and trying to get everything set up. But Jennifer, this is your live debut here. How's it going?
I'm not sure I can keep up with you. You're a hard one to compete with.
I don't know. I mean, I've been going live a lot lately, right?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's at home, so this is an opportunity for us to connect with the viewers, keep everybody informed, and obviously, talk today about modular construction. We've been in modular construction for 20 years, right?
You're older than you look.
Take it. I am losing my hair. That's for sure. But yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and I think it's really great that we're going to be able to bring this to our audience. In fact, I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation that we'll be able to share here as well as we go through this, and then the guests and everybody can kind of join in as we pull this together. So, tell us a little bit.
Well, I mean, essentially, we figured there's a lot of folks at home changing things up a little bit. Obviously, we're all finding ourselves in a very unique situation right now, and it can leave you feeling very helpless and, isolated, right? Obviously. And what we were talking about is, how can we give back? How can we help the situation? How can we help others? I mean, we're not in the healthcare field at the moment. We have our own kids here at home that we're dealing with. And
we do.
What can we do to help others? Because this is a great time to be very strategic and very mindful and really plan in a smart, effective way what your next steps are. And so what we thought we could do is share our experience, share our knowledge, invite others to ask questions and share their experiences as well. But for anybody out there considering a new path or looking to optimize the path that they're on right now, we wanted to share with everyone what we know about modular construction, and maybe inspire a couple of other folks to get involved and join us in this great industry.
Yeah, modular offsite construction in general is growing in leaps and bounds, and it's a lot of fun. I always say it's so great not being the tail of the donkey anymore. When I had this brilliant idea of modular construction 20 years ago, I couldn't get a production builder, a stick builder. I couldn't get anybody to buy into my beliefs on this and what we were doing. And we started doing it, and we've been doing it for 20 years. And now it has come to a point where trade labor issues are causing everybody some issues, and people are starting to get smarter. I think the millennials, younger generation, just understand that, hey, offsite construction, and I always say whether it's modular or whether it's panelized or whatever your form of offsite is, it's just a smarter and better way to build. And we want to educate people on it. We want to help promote it because we believe in it. And not only do we believe in it, but we live and breathe it every day of our lives, even to this day. Jen is the managing, what is your title again? Director of Operations. I'm the managing director of Operations. So Jen's been in the front office, the back office, the field. And this is really something that I think is great because I'm sure everybody's tired of my point of view. I think it'd be great to have Jen's point of view because, like anything else, Jen's really the one who runs the day-to-day of the operations and is the brains behind the operations. So,
wow.
And I said that, and I said it publicly. I did say it publicly. So there it is. It's on record. So you want to build modular. Jen, why are people looking at modular now more than ever to be the way forward of construction?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one reason that pops into my mind for the current state of affairs is it's a very predictable process, and it's a very efficient process, and it can really help you with your build cycle once you're back on your feet. The beauty about modular construction is that there is a lot of planning time involved. We spend so much time really building the house on paper prior to construction ever starting. It's a very, very planful process. Yeah. And now is a really good time to be planful. So I think for folks who really want to hit the ground running when things change a little bit, they're looking for a better way, that shorter build cycle. That's what comes to mind for me right now. And that's why I'm so excited to share this with everybody.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I want everybody to know when I'm kind of looking around and touching things, it's a live feed. So we have to refresh our screens just so people understand. So when questions pops up, I see Miles Biggs. Hey, Miles, glad to have you on. Listen, man, Thursday, Miles and I will be on doing our branding talk, but Miles just letting us know that everything's up and running. So I'm constantly looking at things and just want to make sure that we don't miss anything or anybody. So, but Jennifer, I mean, you're absolutely right. So let's kind of talk about what modular is. What does modular mean to you? And do you want me to pull up the deck for that?
Yeah.
I saw the look. She's like, the deck. Got to pull up the deck. Let's see if we can make this happen.
It's not all spontaneous.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, there it is. Hopefully everybody can see the deck. So you want to build modular. Let's, hey, Jennifer, how do I get through the deck? There we go.
I know. See, so we're going to answer a few questions today. We thought that we would really start with some of the fundamentals. Most of you probably know them already, but it's a great refresher. But a couple of things we want to do during our conversation today is really talk about what is modular construction, how is it different than site-built construction, and what are the advantages to using modular construction? So those are the questions we're going to jump into.
Yeah, right. So what is modular construction? And if anybody's out there and you want to chime in or you want to know something specific about what we are talking about and what we are doing, please do. So what are you looking at? She's tapping me, trying to tell me something. It's live, Jen. You can't do that. Do I need to switch the slide?
Oh, there we go.
Got it.
I guess next time I'll be in charge of the keyboard.
Yeah, there we go. So, modular construction simply means that the materials were delivered to an off-site location, assembled components. I'm going to put it in my own words. Modular itself basically is a process in which we build. It is not a type of building. I'll say it again. It is a process in which we build. It is not a type of building. So what do I mean by that? We are building inside in a controlled environment, but we are using the same exact products as any site builder is using out in the field on a job site, doing it stick by stick. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yeah, I mean, think about it right now, right? You need to protect your material. You need to protect your workforce. This is a great way to do that.
It really is. It really is. 'Cause, one of the things that a lot of people don't know about modular is the controlled cost. Mm-hmm. If we're going to talk about what it is and the value of modular and why a lot of people are coming to this is, one, we're built in a controlled environment. Mm-hmm. In our practice, when we give somebody a job price, we stick by it. There is no change orders on our jobs unless a client makes a change.
Yeah, I mean, that speaks to the planful nature of what we do as well. Typically, we work for, a home building company that we've built, over 1,600 homes. And
all modular.
Using all modular construction. Custom. And for us, in terms of change orders, we may see one or two on a job. Maybe. Right. And a lot of those change orders actually happen before we even start construction on the home. It's something that we catch before we even send the order off to the factory. So the change order work is at a minimum, which is a huge stress reducer. If you think about it, nobody's in the field trying to figure out the cost of a change order. Nobody's scratching their heads to decide, whether or not this is going to hold up the job. We really try to get in front of all that. So when we talk about the predictable nature of it all, that's what we're talking about. When we say that we can offer a fixed cost, that's what we're talking about. We very rarely offer allowances within our, when we present an investment to the client. Because we're really able to figure out all of those details prior to starting construction, and that's a big win. It
is a big win. So the overall, what is modular construction? Basically, it is the same as a site-built home. We're just building it in a controlled environment. And I'm going to say something that Gary Fleischer hates, but it's the same concept. You wouldn't want your car built in your driveway. You could, and it'll still go down the road 1,000 miles an hour, just like, any other car, 55 if you're following the rules, but Jen does not. And I think that with that said, modular is a process in which we choose to build and put it together. And I think we can get into some of the benefits of that, which we've already started doing. There's that look. I got to change the slide.
Yeah, no, I mean, one thing that we also wanted to point out is we build to the same code as other locally built homes, but using traditional on-site construction, right? That is a key component of what we're talking about here. It's the same code. It's the same product. A few days and weeks from now, we'll be having a bigger conversation in terms of what that code really means. But just understand, it's the same product. It's just the process that we build in.
It truly is. It truly is. And if any of you are out there have watched my modular home minutes, I've been doing a lot of videos on our houses through the years and kind of walking through doing the whole Bob Vila thing and trying to highlight that to everybody. In fact, and this is my personal belief, but there's a lot of fact behind it as well. Our homes are much stronger and better built than homes you can build on site. Now, there's some master craftsmen out there, guaranteed guys and girls that really have this figured out. But there's no way. We're building from the inside out.
We are
building from the inside out. Our sheetrock and wiring and insulation is in the house before there's any sheathing or weather protection on the outside. Completely dry, completely sealed. Everything's vacuumed up. So again, we're just doing it differently.
We are. And it's, this isn't even a conversation about what's better or worse. This is a conversation around the process that we've chosen and the reasons why we've chosen it. And what Dave is describing is exactly right. The materials are dry, they're weather tight. The home is under roof, when we set it. We're able to insulate in places that you can't normally insulate when you're on a job. And listen, we're in New England. It's cold, it's rainy, it's wet. It's hard to work under those conditions. Yeah. So when our folks are in a factory and really dialed in and doing what they do best, they're very effective in what they're doing.
They are very effective, but we're using better tools too. A lot of the factory equipment is laser guided saws. It's all pre-cut. I mean, you're not going to walk into a modular factory, at least the ones that we use, and see lumber that's, 1/8 of an inch, 2/8 of an inch too short. Everything is cut very precisely. It's built on what we call jigs. And I think as we go through this process, Jennifer, this is our first series, just trying to get everybody excited about what we're doing. And we're trying to figure out what we're doing, I think, sometimes. But I think the reality of it is, we're going to have a real play-by-play detailed look on how this whole process is going to go. And today's really just the introduction on what we're wanting to bring everybody. So we really want your questions. We really want to know what's important to you. We have a lot of people that already follow us that are in the modular business. And sometimes we know what we take for granted. Other people don't understand what we're talking about. When we say, ship and set, drop set, which we don't want to use the word drop in modular, but there's just all kinds of lingo and slang that we use in this industry. So this whole process is going to help everybody out there really understand what modular is. And we're going to have special guests on too, talking about modular and what they're doing. So the build process, Jennifer, you want to walk us through the first time somebody, comes to see us and we can just take everybody how it works so they understand it's the same traditional?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same process as any traditional site builder would have. First, you're talking to the client about what they're looking to build. We're a design build firm, so we do all the custom design work in-house. So we'll start with anything from, we joke about it, but literally people come into the office with, a sketch on a notebook, or a napkin, even a vision, an idea, tear sheets from a magazine, photographs. This is what we typically start with. Obviously the manufacturers all offer beautiful floor plans on their websites, and we have some as well, but everybody wants something that will work for them. So what we really try to do is talk with them, find out what's important. Do they have kids, pets? Do they travel, love to cook, love to entertain? How are they going to live in this home? That process is the same for anybody.
Yeah.
So that's where it really all starts. And from there, you build on your plans and pricing and really understand what the client is looking to achieve, when they're looking to achieve it. And then it all really starts to come together.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the process, if any of you out there have built a traditional home, a lot of you are builders probably watching this right now, is the same. You know, we have our own in-house design team that we utilize, and we share CAD files or design files with our manufacturer of choice who we use to build our homes. So with that said, you know, there's really 3 phases of going through a modular build, just like when you're doing a site build. Whether it's residential or commercial. One, you have the design phase. So the design phase is the meet and greet's already over. The customer hired you. They walk you you walk them through a design that they chose or one that you custom designed for them. And then obviously they have to plan on that design. They have to like the design, and then they sign off on the design.
Right.
Yep. And then with that said, once the design is in place, or we like to say the bones of the structure in place, then we work on the color selections, right? That's when we get into the fun stuff, the
finishing touches, how you personalize your own home, and you know, how we're going to outfit the exterior, the interior of the home. And again, we really don't have many limitations in terms of the design work that we do or the design elements that we incorporate into the home. As a builder, we choose to limit the choices and, you know, give a nice broad spectrum of choices, but it just makes it easier, you know, to have some really great options for the client to choose from versus just everything. So we really try to, you know, guide the client in the right direction there. But really in terms of process, you know, design, engineering, you know, once you get the bones of the structure and you're ready to start moving to engineering, then you move to permitting just as if you were, you know, building on site.
Right. For sure. You know, that's kind of the 3 steps, right? We have the design phase, we have the permitting phase, and then we have the construction phase. No different than any other builder that goes through. I will say though, and we're going to touch on this in a later episode, is that modular construction, engineering, and approvals is much harder and much more stringent and much more detailed and thorough than a site-built home ever will be.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we have inspections at the factory. And we have inspections on site. So really, those inspectors are getting a very good look at our homes. And the difference is that we often build to a much higher code than what's required locally. So we're really optimizing the construction because our manufacturers ship these homes nationally. So typically what they do is they find the highest level of code, and that's what they try to achieve because that satisfies everybody.
Yeah, it does, because of all the states that the manufacturer is shipping to. So you're absolutely right. So, and then we have build timeline.
So this is where the real value starts to come into play, because as everybody knows, time is money, right? No 2 ways about it. And this is where the real advantage is out there for anybody who is a traditional site builder at the moment. And whether you're investigating modular construction or panelized or any of the forms of offsite construction, the beauty about what we offer is that there's a concurrent timeline of work that happens. Things happen in parallel. So as we are preparing the site, getting the foundation ready, really prepping doing all that earthwork, the home is being built in a factory. So typically in a traditional site with a site builder, first you have to do all of that earthwork and then you start framing. Right.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if we can do video with this so we can show some videos of this next week so everybody can see. I would imagine if we can share a screen, I might be able to share the process in a video for the viewers out there.
Right.
Because it's so hard to explain. But I mean, think about this, right? This is, I know I'm a little animated, but while our excavation guys and foundation guys are in the field digging for the foundation, pouring the concrete, there's a whole nother crew of busy beavers, so to speak, in a factory who are building the home,
Right.
preparing the home for shipment,
Yeah.
so that when that foundation is done, we're 2 weeks maybe from setting the house on it.
Yeah.
You know, we
We're
just got to
ready.
wait for the concrete to cure. And if we get our timing right, I mean, it could be a week, 2, 3 weeks latest after that foundation is ready.
Right.
And we put that house on the foundation, and depending on the style of home that you're doing, it could be over 80% complete, or it could be 70+% complete. Just depends on how much customization one's doing in the size of the house.
Right.
Imagine that. I mean, imagine that 70% of your house is done on that foundation within a week or two after the foundation's put in place. And well, I know I'm getting a little off track, but you know what the biggest value is? And this is something that's coming up, and we have some other people that I'm going to let announce this soon, but the bankers are really loving this.
Yeah, they are. They are. And this isn't, so there's 2 other added advantages right now in this current environment of why we would move to modular. Number one is the finance component, right? Everybody's super nervous about finances right now. With the investment, once it's on your foundation, and what Dave is saying is true, between 70 and 85% complete, there's equity. Right?
Yeah.
There's immediate equity in that home.
Yeah.
So that's a super big deal for the bankers that we work with. And we've definitely cultivated a great relationship with some local bankers who totally get what we do. You know, some of them often pull us aside and whisper in our ear. They love working with us because it is predictable. It is a fixed cost. And there's that bonus, right? That there's equity the minute that the home sets. So that's a very big deal. The other silver lining to all of this right now, when that home comes and those fixtures are in, the homeowner walks through and they see sheetrock on the walls, and they see towel bars hanging, and they see their beautiful countertops and their gorgeous island. Oh my gosh, that is just such a wonderful moment, right?
It is. Set day, as we call it, is the day we put the house on the foundation, or the day after, and we can actually walk a client through whether it's a residential or whether it's a commercial client. I mean, it happens in the hotel industry as well, when all this planning happens and all of a sudden everything arrives and you have your 200 rooms, and in about a week, 2 weeks, everything's put together, and you can walk in, unlock a door, and the bed's made.
Right.
The soap's in the dish.
Right. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's the same thing for residential as well as it is on the commercial side. I mean, modular and offsite construction. I like to say offsite construction because there's different forms of what we do, and I think they're all important. It just so happens that our form that we chose was modular construction, and that's kind of what we run with because that's what we know.
Right.
For
Exactly.
sure. So do we have another slide here, Jennifer?
We do. We have
Let's
a couple
hop
more.
in here. Where's my mouse? All right.
So when we talk about what's different between site-built homes and homes that are built off-site, whether it's modular, panelized, timber frame, all of these different types of off-site construction, what's different, but what's the same, right? From an appearance perspective, I'm telling you, when people drive by, they have absolutely no idea what type of construction was used when you built that beautiful house. Wraparound porches, beautiful garages, in-law suites. I mean, design details, right? I mean, that's everything that can be done using modular construction. So the appearance, the same, right? Not really different.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to tell the difference of one of our homes, that we personally build, and a lot of other people. If you understand modular, I mean, you can look for certain things that you would just know where 2 units come together or what have you. But we're for us, I mean, we build everything in a single family home, 800 square feet to 6,000 plus square feet, on a regular basis. And then on the commercial side and some of the hotel jobs, what have you, you're into 100 boxes, 200 boxes, modules, whatever you want to call them. So we're you're not going to know the difference.
No.
In fact, most of you have been in a modular something, and more than likely it was a hotel. Yeah. Marriott is a huge proponent of modular offsite construction. Right. And it was funny. I just spoke with Jennifer Abized, who is the director of design. I think I got her title right. If you're watching, I apologize. But she said that if they could have another 200 factories today, they have the business for them. Think about that.
Yeah, it is amazing, and it's growing. It's totally growing exponentially, which is terrific because it's been such a small percentage of the total build world,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, it is wonderful to see what's happening. And the other thing is, I was talking about finance a minute ago. Folks often ask us, will it appraise the same, right? Will it
all the time?
It appraise the same.
All the
That's
time.
one of our FAQs across the board for sure. And we have a true story that just happened recently.
Well, we got a couple that, at least in our world, that's
Yeah.
real. Yeah, for sure. The Lertz house, absolutely.
Yeah. So we recently built a beautiful award-winning home down in Westport, Connecticut.
It did. It won the NAHB, right?
Yeah.
Award. Jerry Rillo? Was that a different one?
Different one.
Oh, well, it still is an award.
But still. And it's a beautiful home for a young couple with their first child was born while they were living in this home. Well, now they
had another child.
And so within 3 years, they decided that, like most of us, they needed more space and everything else. And when they put the home on the market, and this was just recently, I think within the last 3 or 4 weeks, it sold on the first day.
It did. In fact, they had a bidding war, and the bidding war drove the number up. And, in our neck of the woods, it was no small chunk of change. But this house itself was less than like 1,700 square feet. It was on a postage stamp. They didn't even have a driveway, so to speak, full driveway. But it was in Fairfield County in Westport, and the house did. I think it went on the market, and it sold for a couple $100,000 more than they built it for within 3 years.
Yeah.
So appraisal wise. Again, as the banks are getting more and more educated on this type of process and understanding the value and understanding that their asset during the construction and during the ownership of this loan is even better protected, especially in a time like this. Think about it. Most construction has come to a halt.
Right.
Has come to a halt. And if this house has been delivered and set, well, the bank already has their 70 to 85% of their asset in place and their money secured. Nobody took the money and ran and didn't buy the lumber. If it hasn't been delivered and set, at least in our world, we do what they call curbside delivery. And what this curbside delivery means is there's a small deposit up front to build the house. For us, it's, 10, 20%. For others, it could be 25%, 30%. Just depends. We've been doing this a long time. With that said, that's all they're out of pocket until that house is delivered. And when that house delivers, then they're whole on their money almost.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, again, it's all about the homeowner, right? It's all about the client experience and really exceeding their expectations. Right now, the beautiful thing is for the clients who chose to use modular construction, their homes are weather tight, even though they were just set. We had, I think, 2 homes setting this week, and they're weather tight. They're secure. They're safe. The homes are safe, and that's a big win right now, right? With skilled labor and waiting for trade partners to get on the job site and trying to keep everybody on schedule. For us, at least, everything is under roof. So that's a really great thing for our clients right now.
It really is. So, getting back to our slide, I'll put it back up here, but that's what we were talking about is the appraisal value and the cost of doing this. And, Jen, getting into cost is hard. We're on the East Coast. We're in New England. We're in a high cost of living area, just like the West Coast, and then there's central parts of the country that are in the same predicament. But really, the costs are all over the place, and it really depends on the manufacturer you're using and the level of quality that you're going for.
Right.
We hold ourselves to a high standard. We don't build to a builder's grade house, right? I mean, we like to say we're a modest grade builder. We start off with modest grade product. We built a lot of houses over the years. We do. And
I think the cost question, everybody gets this, regardless of the method of construction that you're choosing. And as you all know, it is so hard to answer. Well, what are you talking about? What are we really pricing here? Does that include all the, does that include all the mechanicals? Does that include all the site work? Does that include all the finishing touches? How do you ever truly get an apples to apples comparison between any 2 builders let alone 2 types of construction.
Yeah.
So this is just a really difficult question to answer. And there's 4 million posts on it outlined. Like if you Google that, like your screen's just going to blow up with tons of choices to read. But essentially, it's just a hard question to answer because no 2 builders build to the same exact spec. No 2 builders offer the same exact selections, so on and so forth. So
and the market changes pretty much every 50 miles, they say. So what we build here is not what everybody builds, 50 miles from here.
Right. So we've had people tell us, wow, that's a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. And we've had other people tell us, wow, that is so much less expensive than we thought it would be. So it's really dependent on the client. It's depending on what they're looking to build, and it's depending on where they're looking to build, right? If you're looking to, do a tear down along the coast, that's a totally different question, right? How that cost compares to something else.
For
so,
sure.
Yeah, that one's just a hard one, but we will dive into that more in future episodes and help you understand what goes into that type homes. Everything can be customized.
Everything. There is no, we have some parameters where it makes sense to be engineered a certain way for value.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want that value and you want what you want, listen, we're no different than everybody else. We'll build as much as we can modular.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have to site build something to make up the difference or do something really cool, rounded rooms, barrel ceilings, something that wouldn't be real efficient to do in a manufacturer,
right,
then we can do on site.
Well, the super fun thing is right now we're working on a project that is bringing 2 units together, one built using post and beam construction and the other using modular construction. And it's a fabulous project going out to Block Island.
It is going to Block
Island. Really excited for these folks because they're building a very, old world versus new world type of home, which is super cool. And it's going to be wildly unique and beautiful.
It really is. It really is. Imagine modular and post and beam coming together, 2 forms of offsite, because post and beam is offsite, for the most part, unless you have them out there, carving the wood right on site. Well, then it's on site. But it is going to be beautiful. And Jen, you brought up a good point. Modular and offsite construction in general is perfect for island builds. Hard to get, when I say hard to get places, we need access. These are big trucks coming in. But something like an island, we do a ton of island builds off the coast of New England because it just makes sense, right? And most the trades and what have you, that very few people can afford to live on an island off the coast of New England.
Right. And because our build cycle is shorter timeline, we are able to get on and off that island faster and let the folks who are, vacationing there really enjoy their time, where it's a smaller carbon footprint. It's less impact to the local environment. These are other advantages of using offsite construction, that there's less disturbance to the local coastal lines, basically, which is good for everybody.
Yeah, it really, really, truly is. So we have something else to go over here. Is that it? I think that's start with the basics.
So listen,
I'll share it.
This is how everyone gets started. And I kind of wanted Dave to share his story about how he got started in offsite construction, because this is what we're encouraging everybody to do. Back in the day, when you were working on one of your very first homes, the gentleman next door to you was doing things a little bit differently.
Oh, was he ever? So, well, back in the day, after I got out of the military, I ended up working for Johnson & Johnson. Believe it or not, I was a spinal implant rep, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. So I started doing builds and flips on the side. One day I ended up going out and I bought a piece of property in a small subdivision that somebody subdivided the property on. I started stick framing my first house, and this is going back 21 years probably. The guy next to me, Ron C. Schultz, did a modular home, and that house was done before I even had the sheetrock on. He sold the darn thing. I was so mad. The funny part about this whole thing is, and serendipitous, I guess you could call it, is that the word? But Ron's wife grew up across the street from my dad in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Now, here we were in New Jersey.
Right.
And it wasn't in Pennsylvania. And it just so happened. So for myself, I ended up working for Ron for 6 months on my free time when I wasn't doing hospital cases and stuff with J&J, learning how to do this process. And that's how I got into it. I did my first house. I actually sold to the mayor of South Hackensack, New Jersey. I was sitting in his barber chair, getting my hair cut because he was a barber as well. And that's how we got started. And I said, well, hey, I can build your house. And I built my first home, and it did not go nearly as smooth as I wanted it to go. But you know, you learn. Nothing in life simple. Everything's a learning curve. And my grandfather always said, you can either go to school and pay for an education, or you can try it and get your back end handed to you. But one way or another, you're paying for it. And that's how I ended up learning. But my second and third one, it just got better and better. And when we dialed it in 20 years later, I would never stick build ever again.
Right. So right now is a great time for you to reach out and talk to other builders, you know, whether they are, again, in modular construction or a different form of offsite construction. Just investigate whether or not, you know, this is something that you might want to pursue, and ask them, how did you get started? And, you know, what are some of the advantages and what are some of the headaches that I should be on the lookout for? Just start that relationship. And I think you'll find that most builders are very helpful. At least that's been my experience. The other thing is follow other builders online, right? See who else is doing this, and, you know, check out their YouTube channels, check out their social media. Because it's not just what they're talking about in the video, it's what's happening behind them in that video. It's what's happening in the behind the scenes of those photographs. Look and see how the modules come together. Like, you know, you don't have to pay so much attention to the host of the video, but really look at the surrounding areas, you know, and everything that you can see in that video. And the other thing that I would say is, if you haven't done so already, join your local network of builders. For us, that's the HBRA.
Home Builders and Remodelers Association,
the Builders Association. Even the NAHB, the Building Systems Council, is full of people who are very helpful, and definitely would share some stories in terms of why this is such a great opportunity. So don't be afraid to reach out. You know, this is a time of global community.
There we are.
I know, exactly. And I think you'll find that people are a lot more helpful and receptive should you want to talk about this further.
Yeah, 100%. I think, Jen, you hit it right on the head. I mean, nail on the head, nail on the top of the nail, whatever you want to call it, you know. Listen, we're all cooped up inside. Our daughters are baking chocolate chip cookies as we speak. 12-year-olds. So if you hear the smoke alarm go off, don't fret. We're close by. But yeah, chocolate chip cookies. So the reality of it is, you know, we want to keep bringing information. This was the first episode, you know, about wanting to build modular and bringing something to everybody. We're going to work through some of the kinks that we've been going through, and we are going to really fine tune this. And your feedback in asking questions on what it is you'd like to know about modular would be very, very helpful to us. We can talk all day long about step 1, step 2, step 3, and we'll do the lingo, you know, and the jargon. But it's up to you, the viewers out there, to help us bring all this, you know, together for you. And it doesn't just have to be in the field. I mean, Jennifer, you know, estimating, marketing, I mean, hiring, right? I mean, we do it all. So we have a background in doing all this. And I think, you know, Jennifer, I'll let you speak for yourself, but this isn't just about the construction process and saying, oh, wow, look how pretty modular is. This is about, let's have a real conversation on why it is the better way to build.
Yeah. And I'm super excited to do this because I came from out of industry. You know, definitely by osmosis, I learned a lot, you know, having some stories brought home at the dinner table every single night. But the thing about offsite construction is it's no different than any other business where A comes before B, B comes before C, and C comes before D. It's very process oriented. It's very detail oriented. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. But I think that's why everybody is a good candidate to get into modular construction specifically. So I'm super excited over the upcoming weeks just to share some of our learnings and help you guys if you're interested.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's really it for today, right?
Yeah.
I was just looking, my phone was dinging. We have Lisa and some other people made some comments. They were sending me texts. Great episode. So Like, again, I don't want people to think we're not paying attention, but when we look at our phones and do some of this stuff, it's really just because things start buzzing all over the place with these live feeds. I think next time we should get one of our daughters to sit in here with the iPad, and they can monitor all this stuff, and we can just keep the dialogue going straight to the viewers and keep it going. So listen, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Jen, why don't you take us out of here today?
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't do it with nearly as much enthusiasm as Dave normally does, but sincerely, we hope everybody is well and making the most of this time. And we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
We do. We really do. So same time, right? What is today? Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So you want to build modular. We're going to talk about it. Send us what you want to learn. We will be here. And tomorrow, 10 a.m. Gotta promote it. We are doing product spotlight, 10 a.m. tomorrow. We are going to do product spotlight with Nishiha USA. They're going to talk about their siding. I had a question a couple of days ago about how the cladding industry is going to adapt and offsite and modular. So, you know, Tim Seams has been on a few times, and I thought, what a better person to have on to answer that question.
Very knowledgeable, super friendly, and again, another
happiest guy ever.
Another great example of someone who just loves to share his knowledge and brought in his reach and embrace everybody in the meantime. So super excited to have him on tomorrow.
Yep, and I agree with that 100%. And a big shout out to Rick Hawkins. I see you gave us a like there and said hello. So Rick Hawkins, give us a call one of these days. Maybe we'll have you on. Let's talk. You've been in this business a long time yourself, my friend. Well, there you have it, everybody. Oh, you're going to take us out.
Oh, gosh. How am I doing that?
So basically it goes like this. Thank you, everyone. So Jennifer Cooper, Dave Cooper. Yes, we are married and happily to boot, if that. And we work together, have for years. But listen, this is all about modular construction. Ask us the questions. I'm Dave Cooper, davecooper.live. We got some great things coming up. We got a new website getting ready to launch. If you want to learn more about what we're doing here, follow us Monday through Friday, Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays at 1, Wednesdays at 10 a.m., Thursdays at 1 p.m. Oh, my gosh. I'm Dave Cooper. Jennifer.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next. You got a point here. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.